Her family abandoned her, a millionaire adopted her. What she did next is hard to believe. Primrose, the small Chinese child, had silver eyes since she was born with congenital glaucoma. She was thus abandoned by her mother and put in an orphanage. Her life had a complete change when she was adopted by this wealthy couple. She was in excruciating pain in the orphanage for the first 2 years of her existence because her unusual genetic condition was ignored. Her silver eyes glinted in the light as she peered into them, a highly unusual condition. Primrose had this extremely unusual condition, which caused her eyes to turn from pale blue to silver. She also had a hearing issue when she was eventually diagnosed. Two Americans named Aaron and Chris spotted a message on Facebook about this dejected, abandoned little girl in China. When they got there, she was very weak. She was quite heated, and her little body was losing strength. Due to Primrose's blindness and deafness, her birth mother abandoned her. It had been a long time since Primrose had spent much time alone in the orphanage. Chris and Aaron Austin, residents of Brazelton, Georgia, were maximizing the chance to spend time with her two young children. On a particular day in January 2016, Aaron was browsing her Facebook page. She came upon a picture that gave her the chills. Aaron knew immediately that she had been granted custody of this child. After then, Primrose's life was completely changed, and she experienced only good things. A 5-year-old child who was diagnosed with a rare and painful disease at birth has recovered remarkably. Surgery involved the removal of her eyes. She has made a fantastic recovery. The little girl's other eye had reduced to half its former size, and she suffered a retinal detachment in one of her eyes. In her adoptive mother's words, she lived in a nightmare every day because the child cried for 16 hours a day. When Aaron and her husband Chris took her in from a Chinese orphanage 3 years prior, they discovered that she was blind due to a lack of congenital glaucoma. They were told at birth that this was the reason for her silvery eyes and that she may go deaf. According to an MRI scan, she had the rare 6p25 syndrome, which causes a variety of vision problems. They recommended that she have her eyes removed, and when she miraculously recovered a few weeks later, they were taken aback. After more testing, it was discovered that she is not completely deaf and that she has tubes in her ears that allow her to hear better than she had anticipated. Primrose is presently relearning how to walk and picking up a touch-focused form of sign language so she can communicate with other kids her age and her caregivers. Aaron acknowledged that having her eyes removed was not an easy decision, but she feels that it was the right one. She had a grin on her face, stood up for the first time in months, and made significant progress in other areas in just 2 days. Even though her eyes have been changed, she still looks good. In the upcoming months, Primrose will have further eye care, and molds of her eye implants will be made so that by the end of the year, she can have painted lenses placed in her eyes. Now that we have eliminated the source of her suffering, she will always need to approach life in a new manner. The researchers stated we will come up with alternative strategies or teach her sign language in order to interact with her in a variety of ways. When adoptive parents discover their daughter is safe, happy, and receiving proper care, they will consider the adoption a success.